fulfilled, whatever that means. You know, personally, I don't think you should look for fulfillment in work. Like, in what you do for money, I don't think you should really look for fulfillment necessarily. I think that you should look for money in work and look for fulfillment in what you decide to do with that money. But that leads me to kind of the next thing, which is, you know, feeling fulfilled at your job. And I would say the last job I had at Parks and Rec, taking care of nature, trails, and a lot of land management, invasive species control, like, I loved it. Like, that's the kind of stuff I do in my free time. Like, great, loved it, very fulfilling, I will say, very fulfilling. And this job, now, you might think that, like, just driving car batteries around the state of Kansas can't be very fulfilling, right? Like, it's just something you do for money. And, yeah, I do it for money. Like, I mean, it is what it is. I do this job so that I can get money, so that I can live my life and build my future. And hopefully the future will be better than the present. Although the present is not bad. But, yeah, looking for fulfillment in work, it doesn't have to be like my Parks and Rec job where you're doing something like working on the trails that I would like to hike in my free time, or, you know, helping the needy or helping kids, you know, almost like charity stuff, you know, helping the world, saving the world kind of stuff. That can be fulfilling, but a lot of times it ends up, or doing things like having a hobby job, like getting paid to do music, you know, which is something, or art, you know, which is kind of a hobby, but, you know, a lucky few can make it into a job. I shouldn't say a lucky few, I should say the very talented few can turn it into a paying job, something like art or music. So yeah, that's, when you think about a fulfilling job, that's kind of what comes to mind. It's like working with nature, working with kids, working with people who need help, working with the community, and then, or doing things like art and music and stuff like that. So one would consider those kind of jobs to be fulfilling. But I think that that jobs like that end up being more disillusioning than anything else. And that eventually you end up doing this, what was supposedly a very fulfilling job, just for the paycheck. And usually jobs like that seem fulfilling from the outside don't have quite as good of a paycheck as like factory work or truck driving, you know, or some sort of skilled labor, you know. They usually have a better monetary upside than a job that looks fulfilling from the outside. So, yeah, I think that a lot of times those jobs end up being the least fulfilling because you go into them with high expectations and end up getting really disillusioned. Unless, for some reason, you know, you end up, like I said, getting lucky, and maybe your organization is the one that ends up being the perfect organization. But any job can be fulfilling. Like, I actually find a ton of fulfillment driving around the state delivering car batteries. And, you know, not just because I make better money at this job than I made at any other job, although that definitely has a big part to do with it. Because you feel that the time that you're putting in at work is getting, you know, you feel like you're actually worth the time that you're putting in. A lot of times when you go to a job, you feel like, wow, I'm worth so much more than what they're paying me. I don't really feel that way. I think, for what I'm doing, I don't think there's a whole lot else I could do that would pay me this well, being a rather unskilled laborer. So, in that sense, I feel very fulfilled. Like, this is about as much as I can expect to make. I really couldn't expect to make any more than this. And so I'm fulfilled in that sense, doing this job. I'm very happy with what I'm getting paid. Also, if you think about it, what's more important than somebody's car starting in the morning when they turn on their ignition? Like that, for most people, if that doesn't happen, the rest of your day doesn't happen. So really, if you think about it, I'm fucking essential, baby. Like, without me delivering car batteries around, nobody does anything. Like, artists don't get to go out and do their art. Charity workers don't get to go do their charity. They're stuck at home. Teachers can't go teach kids, until their car gets started. So, the way that I look at it, I'm like, hey, like, I am an essential part of just the world turning and the economy starting up every morning. So, I don't know, if you really think about it, like, that's pretty fulfilling. Like, who's gonna save the world if their car can't start, Not many people. So, yeah, there it is. I'm very fulfilled.